everyone, welcome to Vlogmas day 17. I've just been going through some of the comments on my latest videos and just replying to a few of them, which I actually usually do in bed. I find it like a nice way to wind down at the end of the day is to just go through some comments. And my mouse is flashing, which I think means the battery's about to die. What a treat. So I've just been doing that, and whilst I'm at my computer, I thought that'd be a great opportunity to just gather together some numbers, which I have on this piece of paper, to kind of report, review how my side hustles this year did in terms of earnings, and then looking forward into 2024, things I'm going to do the same, things I'm going to do differently. So to begin with, I consider that I have had three main, you could call them side hustles, ways I have generated income outside of my normal job. My job obviously is the main source of my income. It is what pays all my bills. I would not be able to survive without it. I am very heavily reliant on that one source of income, which is why I wanted to start exploring other avenues, other ways to make money. Now you'll see from my figures today that this is in no way in any position to even start replacing my main employment. It isn't even enough for me to sort of cut down half a day if I wanted to have more time to give back to myself. So I think over the next year at least, I'll still be working in my job, obviously, and any money I make from my side hustles is just an added bonus. I'm not looking at reducing my time spent at work yet, not until, if ever, my side hustles become more substantial in the amount they earn. But I am interested in having multiple income streams, so I'm not constantly relying on the one should anything happen where I felt like I couldn't work there anymore. You know, I've been in jobs before where I've hated every single day to the point where I looked for something else. You never know what's going to happen. You know, if management changes where you work, that can change the whole dynamic. So I think it is important for me to start exploring other ways of generating income, even if it means for the next year, few years, however long it is, it may be forever, that I don't get to leave a traditional place of work, a traditional job. But that being said, got my water, ran out of lemon. It's a sad, sad time. That being said, we'll look at raw numbers first, just so you can get an idea of how my side hustles did. So I consider that I had three main side hustles, if you like, over the course of the year. YouTube was my biggest. I then had exam marking, which I only did for one period of time. So it was a side hustle, it was extra income, but it's not like it was passive income. I had to exchange my time and skills for money, and I only earned for what I completed, and then that was that done for that block of time. I will have the option to do that again in the summer exam season of 2024 if I want to, and we will see when we get there. The only other thing was Vinted. Now, I don't really class Vinted as a side hustle. I know someone I work with, actually, hold on, tangent. Something I noticed the other day is how many people have side hustles. Like how many people at work who, you know, we're all working, we're all busy, we're all in amongst our careers, building careers and all of that, and we barely have any free time. You know, we work in education, it's a very busy and demanding place to work. But so many people have side hustles, whether they have like their own Etsy store and they make stuff, or one person I was speaking to, it's just reminded me of it, does Vinted, but buys and sells for profit on Vinted. So we'll look for either people selling sort of designer clothes cheap on Vinted because they're looking to make a quick sale, or we'll look for things in secondhand shops or charity shops, knowing they can sell it on for X amount of profit. And there's someone at work that actually does that, and he found a child's North Face coat in a charity shop for £8 a few weeks ago and then sold it for 30. So he's making profit that way. So for him, it's actually generating profit. Whereas for me, it's just been a case of selling my items that I have personally decluttered that I want to let go of so that they can get a bit more life and I can earn a little bit of money. And then I've more recently taken on doing the same thing for one of my friends. It's not like I'm buying to sell, and it's not really a side hustle in that respect. So long term, I don't see myself carrying on with Vinted. I will continue whilst I've got stuff to sell. I'm pointing over there, there's a pile of Vinted stuff. but I've got a lot of stuff to shift still, so I will continue with it, but I would not buy in to sell on Vinted. That's not how I will use it. I will just work through what I've got of my own. So the figures. YouTube over the course of the year, and bear in mind, you know, we've still got a bit of time left in December, so I've just taken an average of my current December earnings so far and projected that little extra bit, what I think it would be, and rounded up to the nearest pound. And over the course of the year, I earned £2,395. I'm just going to go onto my analytics because I'm interested to see if that's the most I've ever made in a calendar year. So in 2022, given that I went away from my channel in around about late July, early August, so again, I only had about 8 months, I earned £1,070, so it's more than last year. And bearing in mind this year, did I come back in about April, March or April? So April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So I've done 9 months, so it is a bit longer, but it's more than double what I made in 2022. Now let me look for 2021. Okay, no, 2021 was a much better year. That was a full 12 months I did, and I made £3,298, so nearly £1,000 more, but that was a full year. And then 2020 should not be as high because 2020 was the first year of my channel. No, in 2020 I made £170, but I didn't get monetized until November, so that makes sense. It took 11 months for me to get my channel monetized. So this has been my second highest earning year of the 4 years I've done it, which I think is not too bad given that I only had my channel live for 9 months out of the year. But even as a percentage, that doesn't seem as much as 2021. So 2021 seemed to be a solid year. £2,395 for 2023 was my earnings from YouTube. You've also got to consider that I will be taxed on that, so I will lose a significant proportion of it when I have to fill in my taxes for this tax year. That is my biggest earner, and as far as YouTube's concerned, it has been my favourite of my side hustles. That's why I've continued to do it for 4 years. I will continue to do it into 2024. I have got some plans for my channel, which I will share in a video over Vlogmas that is coming up, and we will keep running with that. My next biggest earner, as I've mentioned, was the exam marking. That was a block of time in June, and I think it just creeped into the start of July, where I was marking GCSEs for exam boards, specifically for maths. It's done question by question, and I marked roughly 13,000 questions. But you've got to bear in mind with that, different questions take a different amount of time to mark. There are some questions where you just look at them and you key in, well, you key in all the marks for them, but if it's a 1 or 2 mark questions, it might be as quick as a few seconds it takes you to mark that question. Then you'll have some that take a few minutes because you've actually got to read through and see what they've done, and some of them are more complicated to mark, and it all depends on what the students have written. So 13,000 questions. I got my quota done over the course of 3 weeks, and that was just in the evenings after work. YouTube had to take a bit of a back seat though, so it's not like it left me much spare time. During that 3 weeks after work, I was pretty busy, and a little bit on the weekends during that time as well. But that earned me £718 for that period of time. So I think hour for hour, it's not great money, but when you've done it and it was just additional evening work and then you get paid £718, you're kind of like, that's not bad. That was okay. And then for Vinted, over the whole of 2023, assuming I don't sell anything else between now and then, my sales earned £525. And what was good about this year is I didn't have to buy any packing supplies because I already had plenty from previous years. So that was good. I didn't have to spend any of that on packing. So those are my figures for the 3 things I would have considered side hustles in 2023, which gives me a grand total of £3,638, which, you know, it's better than nothing. It's not massive when I consider the amount of work I had to put into all of these things, like the amount of work that goes into YouTube, the amount of work that goes into doing photos and posting and all of that for Vinted, the amount of work that went into the exam marking. It doesn't equate well for time to money, but when you look at that money and you think, would I rather have it or not? The answer is I would rather have that money. Looking forward, if you've seen my video where I wrote my bucket list, just broke my elbow on the desk, where I wrote my bucket list. Let me just find exactly what I wrote. So, to make over £10,000 from side hustles is what I wrote on my bucket list. Number 2. So 3,638, I mentioned when I filmed that video that 5,000 would be a more realistic target as well as still being quite ambitious. 10,000 is like crazy ambitious, but I wanted to set a wild target for me. Obviously some people do these sorts of things and are making that every week or every month. I wanted to set a target that was sort of wildly ambitious for me, kind of knowing it is likely that I'll fall short, but that I'm aiming really high and I'm really going to try and push for it. But to earn 10,000 next year when it was 3,638 this year, I think is a massive jump. But it's all part of the optimism, aiming high, being ambitious kind of thing. In terms of the notebooks and the journal stuff, I will bring you an update on how that is going in January. All I will say now is we have made sales of the journal, which is so super exciting. Thank you to anyone who has already bought one. I'm actually really proud of this. Like every time I go to fill in another section with all the trackers and everything, I'm so excited. And a couple of sales of the notebooks, but not as many. But I kind of expected that because they are just notebooks with a wintry theme, which, you know, that's for some people and it's not for others. Whereas I feel like there's so much content in this journal that loads of people could use and requires minimal effort because it's already all put together for them. So I expected this to have more sales. So that's good. I will bring you an update about that in January. Obviously, if you want to get one, it is for sale on Amazon. Shameless plug. Shameless plug. And so that is it. So that's how my side hustles have gone this year. And we will see what next year has to bring. Let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you again tomorrow. In the meantime, take care. Bye.